Here we are then, Season 6, League 2, Nürburgring GP 4. The feature race qualification was done previously, the race before. Sticking on pole, MLA, myself in second. We had a person missing, so hence why we've moved up a position on the grid. But yeah, racing mediums for minimum 3 laps, out hot in. And then the racing soft, however long you want to do it. 3 and 3, tyre and fuel. The Super does bog down a bit. We've got P1 Valium already up to second position. MLA taking lead as they go down to the first right hairpin. Heavy breaker section this. See if everyone gets through okay. Yes, they do. Bazinga hitting the cones everywhere. It's like, yeah, have that cones, whether you like it or not. P1 Rob. Yeah, this is a Group 3 category around Nürburgring. We have Group 4, Group 3. So Group 4 one week, Group 3 the other week. And yeah, Nürburgring GP. I wasn't a fan favourite. The Lambo's already trying to make their way through. They're pushing his way through onto P1 Valium, saying, have that, my friend. I'm coming through in the Lambo, whether you like it or not. P1 Valium just sitting behind Dave. Right, you have that back, my son. James Harben in 4th position. Now Dave trying to pressure MLA in the Ferrari. See how the MR cars get on around this track. This was done a couple of weeks ago. I'm a bit late getting the replay out, so I do apologise for that. Further down we go. The Supra, not the best starting car off the line. As you can see, I was in second. Now I'm down to 5th, so it's all about managing that fuel and looking after the tyres as well. See how long me and Nath, my teammate, can go on for throughout the race. And yeah, we'll wait and see. Sit back, relax, grab some popcorn or chocolate or Marmite on toast. It is early in the morning while I'm doing this. Marshall there in night. Sparkle Sheffield, the future decals, we are driven, digital car culture and so on. I say it each week. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel as well. Does appreciate it. I do appreciate it, sorry. Not does appreciate it. I do appreciate it. P1 Rob there and Martin there. Battering it out for 13th and 14th, but no, Rob lost that position, so now Rob down to last. MLA taking the lead of lap number 2. 40-minute race this is, and then we have the sprint race to determine the grid for the next week's races. Dave, they're looking to the inside there. MLA gives them a little bit of space, a bit twitchy on the rear there from Dave. That enables MLA to go back out in the lead in 1st position. P1 Valium in that 3rd. James Harben still in 4th. Me in 5th. Bazinga in 6th. Now he's coming under pressure from Rick. Rick there in the Ferrari with the Aston Martin just ahead and the GTR just behind. Nath now up to 9th. He's got past C Trickle. C Trickle falling down to that 10th position. The C Trickle in 10th. Sonic Racer. I know it's Sonic Racer, but I like calling him Sonic the Racer in car with the Jaguar. Don't know how this will be on tyres and fuel, but we have got Duz there looking to the inside there of Sonic Racing. He doesn't get out and moved on. The Merc, one of the AP cars in the Group 3. Yeah, it's going to do well around here. Top end as well. Really good top end. Martin there in 13, Robin 14. Just up front we go. Because Dave has took the lead over MLA now. So Dave, with Dave, he likes to push it for the first stint. Sort of found a rhythm with them now. So Dave will do the racing soft for the first stint. James will be on the racing medium, as you can see here. And Dave will try and get the advantage and try and stay out on the lead of the race when he does pit. It doesn't always work out that way, but we'll wait and see. MLA on the racing soft as well. James on the racing medium. Valium on the racing medium. Myself on the racing medium and Rick, but it's come under massive pressure now from Nath. Nath there, he's yeah, Nath's looking to the inside there. Bazinga, does he get that move done? He does indeed, but Rick's up to that sit. Bazinga had to back out, otherwise he would have got onto that gravel. We've got Marshall behind. Marshall there in the Nissan. What's going on with this camera? Looking to the inside where he was onto Bazinga, and he brakes later than Bazinga. Nice move there on the inside there from Marshall. In the Memo 2 we do an onboard lap with the lead runner, normally the guy in 1st place. C Trickle finding it a bit tricky with the rear of that car, but does to sit behind in the Mercedes. So does in the Mercedes with Sonic Racer in 12th now. and we've got the guys to the rear. Up the front we go. Dave now gapping. He is gapping MLA 1.3 second gap. Dave, currently the fastest car on track, 156.813. MLA now dropping back into the clutches of James Harben, who's running P3, P1 Valium in 4th. A bit of a gap now. It's steadied out now. It's you see gaps appearing. It's because they're saving the fuel. They're managing the tyres as well. They're talking to their teammates. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we take the Toyotas out or the Ferrari out? And etc. etc. You know. So it's all about that team game. I see where you come on track. Come the pit stops. That seems to determine the race anyway. As soon as the pit stops do happen. But yeah, Rick there in 6th position in the Ferrari, now closing to the back of me in 5th, but Nath, my teammate, in 7th position. So he's working his way up slowly through the field now. And what can he do? Purple sector there from Rick. The fast lap is by Dave still. Nath there in 7th. So yeah, the closest battle at the minute is C Trickle there. C Trickle in the Nissan GTR runs it a bit wide on the exit of the chicane, NGK chicane, and then now he's going to have dirt on the tyres, which will compromise him into his right hander. As you see there, it sends him out a little bit wide. Next lap we'll do that onboard lap. Penalties, burn them off within 2 laps, get rid of it. Rob there 13th, and Martin there, he's struggling this evening in 14th position. Yeah, so at the front, Dave maintaining that gap, if not increasing that gap to MLA. We'll have a look now. 1.9, almost 2 second gap. James Harben, P1 Valium, getting a bit closer on track now. So James Harben will be feeling the pressure for P1 Valium in 4th position. Blue sector there for him, so he is improving on his lap. 155 is possible, depending if you're low on fuel and the race is off. So now P1 Valium hasn't closed that gap. I think he's aware of me behind him, but as you can see at the front, Dave has now gapped over 2 seconds. Yeah, just over 2 seconds to MLA, but MLA just keeping him there, not allowing Dave to go further up ahead. So MLA is just trying to keep that gap around the 2 second mark. He's actually gained a few tenths there, 1.8 second now. He's actually faster in the purple second sector with a purple 26.139, so he isn't slow. He's just trying to stay within the sight of Dave so he don't push it out. And again, his fastest lap's a 157.004, and he's almost up by half a second. So yeah, we keep an eye on that. James Harben now, P1 Valium, coming under pressure from myself in 5th, closing to James Harben as well. James Harben struggling on the racing medium. So he's not happy on the racing medium. P1 Valium on the racing medium as well. But if you look at the tyre wear, I mean, I had none. James Harben already got a little bit of redness kicking into them tyres. P1 Valium as well. I've got no tyre wear at all. Rick as well has got that wear. Nave's got a bit more wear as well. So I'm quite surprised with that, because Nave is normally with his racecraft and he can look after tyres and go longer with the fuel. But I picked up a few things here and there from the previous season, what they were doing. So, you know, short shifting it, just not braking into corners and accelerating at the same time. If you brake and accelerate at the same time, it will effectively wear your tyres down even more. So, handy tip that, don't brake into corners and accelerate at the same time. Yeah, a bit of education there. It's like you're at school at the minute. 157.827, the gap between Nath and Rick is 2 second gap. But look at MLA. MLA in 2nd position is closing that gap, 1.5 second gap. So there's Dave, and now James actually is coming under pressure now from P1 Valium. P1 Valium in a Nissan Honda NSX, sorry, in 4th, but the Lambo seems to have the legs going up the hill. P1 Valium can close it in corners, tight corners, but the James can extend it along the straights. Interesting now. I thought the NSX will be a better overall car. Rick, a bit back end slidey there to the rear. Bazinga Bazinga in 8th, see Trickle in 9th, Marshall down to 10th now, so Marshall behind his teammate. Now if he can work together with his teammate and try and pass Bazinga to gain that extra position, then they can close that gap to Rick there. No, sorry, to Nathan 7th. Thought it was Rick, but Rick's in 6th. Duds there just under half second penalty from Duds. Sonic Racer in 12th. Martin now up to 13th, so he's gained a position, but he's still got a little bit of a penalty. And Rob there in 14th position. Now 2 laps with penalties. If you run it over the 2 laps, then you know you can incur an extra penalty. So we'll keep an eye on that. Because if you can spot certain things, like if they run it for 3 laps, they can say, look, you know, give you a warning. Next time if you do it, then you know you're going to get a penalty. But they'll probably burn it off anyway. They're on their 2nd lap now. They're well aware of the rules, I think. But yeah, Affinity Series been good so far. Season 6. Yeah, it's becoming a popular league within the community, and it's enjoyable. It was doubtful for the end of season 5 if season 6 will happen, but I'm glad it has, because League 2 is a great bunch of guys, and yeah, the racing's good. Can become a bit pushy here and there, but that happens in racing. But apart from that, you know, good bunch of lads, respect on the track as well, and yeah, the pleasure to be a part of it. We've got the likes of Marshall there. He's actually doing the commentary for League 3, the Crazy Brit. Please subscribe to him, watch his videos. He is doing a really good job. First time in a commentary. And then we have got Down for the Count D4TC, covers League 1 live every Tuesday, and obviously myself, I cover League 2. Sparkle, I said that previously, the sponsor alongside We Are Driven, Infinity Decals itself, but he's actually changed his name to Infinity GRFX. Now I'm not sure what that actually stands for, the GRFX. Must be some graphic design thing, but I'm sure he can clarify that. But his name's Dave Robertson anyway, that's his real name. Being a part of this since the beginning as well, being a sponsor from the beginning. And yeah, it's good things, you know, good things happening. Season 7, possible 10-week season 6. And yeah, anyway, a long way to go. So here we go, P1 Valium and myself batting it out. I'm not going to go back to that because it's already done. I just come back a bit late into that. But P1 Valium now looking to attack back at me, because I took 4th off of him. I was a bit slow. The reason why I was slow around this corner, I was managing the tyres. I didn't want to overdo the tyres on the racing medium. I was looking for the longer stint. If I burnt out the tyres, I would have had to pit quite early. And as you can see there, hardly nothing on my tyres. But P1 Valium there looking still around this bottom right hairpin to get the position back off of me. But I think the move was done right about now, because my attention was on to James Harpen up ahead. And yeah, I bet Valium's like, come here laddie, I'll headbutt you. Yes, give my place back. That's not Scottish, you know, that's a pathetic Scottish accent, Darren. Anyway, so Rick there in 6th still. I would say he's gaining a few tenths here and there around tighter corners, and then he's falling back on the straight. But Nath is slowly getting up to the rear. Yeah, just over 1 second gap now between Nathan and Rick. What can Nath do? So Dave, in car with Dave now, heading on the start finish straight. We're gonna drop down to turn number 1, which is a tight right hairpin, Yokohama. Turn number 1. Yeah, heavy braking section this. And then we come up to the famous Mercedes Arena. There's a long, forever long left-hander. Oh god, forever long left-hander there from Dave. Then he'll go into still the Mercedes Arena, and we'll come out of it at turn number 5. There's actually no name on the track map I've got, and he's struggling with the tyre wear already. It's coming into effect now. We're down to turn 5 and 6. 5, sort of a semi-flat corner, but you do need to drop it down and brake. and then we go to turn number 5. Then we're going to head down this long straight as we head downhill to the bottom right hairpin at the bottom of this little short straight. You see all the fans in the stands there saying hello, Dave. Drift some more, will you? And then the famous, Michael Schumacher S, named after him. This bit here coming up now. We've got 8 and 9. Clip that. Don't run it into the gravel. 8 and 9. Then we come up to 10. And yeah, heavy braking again for turn number 10. And we've got the Warsteiner curve, which is his right hander now, turn number 11. And his right kink now is called Advan Bogan. I don't know what I call it that for. Let's call it a right kink. And then the famous NGK chicane. A lot of overtakes can be done here if you trust the car. And yeah, almost lost it there. Dave did. Through the NGK chicane, then we go on to turn number 15, which is right hander. Then we head on to start finish straight. That's a lap done by Dave, currently leading in a race for the feature race for League 2, the Infinity GT Manufacturers Series for MLA. The tyre wear now is hampering Dave because MLA, his tyres compared to Dave who's in first, Dave's is a lot more worn. So now MLA could quite possibly take advantage of this. But we'll come back to this in a minute. James Harburn and myself. James Harburn third. Myself in fourth. Now we've got P1 Valium. As I said previously, tyre wear. But James is looking after their mediums quite well, to be honest with you. His is a little bit more than mine, but he's managing it. Compared to Dave on the racing itself, it's just heavy tyre wear on that car. Let's go down. Quick recap. Dave leading the race. Drifting again. More wear on them tyres. MLA in second. James Harburn in third. Myself in fourth. Rider for Gaming. P1 Valium in fifth. I took that fourth off him a couple of laps ago. Nathan up to sixth, so he's slowly making his way up. So he's up to sixth position. Was down in 11th at the start of the race. Rick down to 7th now. So he's taking it easy, looking after that fuel. A little bit of contact there to the rear of Nave. Nothing gone toward. But I did send Nave a little bit wide. Whether they'll keep battling it out if Rick will drop back a bit. Yeah, he does. So see Trickle in 8th, Marshall in 9th. So the teammates 8th and 9th on track. Bazinga down into 10th now. Sonic Racer in 11th. Duds in 12th. Martin, yeah, so they got rid of the penalties anyway. Martin there in 13th. We've got P1 Rob, unfortunately, to the rear in 14th position. So yeah, Dave got a little bit wrong on the NGK chicane, so I feel now he's gonna go into the pits. So Dave coming into the pits now, takes it nice and steady. He's coming into the pits, and yeah, 32% worth of fuel left. MLA will take the lead of the race. James Harburn actually dived into the pits. Now I thought for James that was quite early to pit, along with Dave, because even though Dave's on the race itself and he had heavy wear on them tyres, I think James could have gone a bit longer, where he's looking for the overcut maybe, for when MLA and myself and P1 Valiant pit. Who knows? But yeah, if we look at the likes of Dave, now Dave didn't refuel. Now, as this hampered his race, Dave there, as you can see, he hasn't got a lot of fuel. So I thought he would have refueled when he come into the pits. But if we go down to the position of James Harburn, James Harburn's refuel. And what it was with Dave, what he said was it was a glitch. It done the tyres, but it didn't do the fuel for some odd reason. He said he selected the fuel, but it didn't refuel. So yeah, so technically at this moment in time, depending if Dave can push it on the racing medium, he's lost out for a podium, but we never know in racing, do we? Sonic Racer does. James Harburn, Rob and Martin there. So at the front, MLA leading the race. His gap between me and him is 6.2 second gap. P1 Valium's now dropped back from me, 3.8, but Nath is going to slowly close up to the rear of P1 Valium in third position. He's still got a little bit of a penalty, but Rick is following, but he's got rid of it. He's slowed up there, as you heard. He slowed up to get rid of that 1/10 for penalty. So P1 Valium, to me, that gap's extending all the time. But MLA taking it nice and steady. I can still go on longer, Rick there coming into pressure Nath, but Nath there as well. Nath will go long as well into his first stint. So looking back from Nath's point of view, going through the NGK chicane, no one pits just yet. I think I'm not sure if any cars do pit. Sea Trickle, sorry. Marshall's actually in the pit now, so he's the first one to pit out of his teammate Sea Trickle. Try and get a jump again. Now Dave in 7th, slowly making his way up. So yeah, he's gained with the pit stop, but he's lost with the pit stop. See what I mean? See, he would have refueled, he would have pitted again for the racing soft, then he would have been okay. So yeah, people starting to pit now. They feel it's time to pit and get rid of them racing medium, racing soft, and do their stint on the racing medium or do the last stint on the racing soft. Remember, 40 minutes in, 20 minutes to go. P1 Valium in 3rd position, Nath in 4th. And again, Rick is slowly catching to the rear. As I said previously, in corners, the Ferrari will close up, but it seems to lose it a little bit on the straight. So the Supra has got a little bit of an advantage over the Ferrari in the straight. But I think the Lambo may be a bit better than both, but I'm not sure about that. But, you know, we've got Spa soon, Brands. That replay will be out on the weekend, hopefully. And yeah, Dave, 156.051. On his 2nd lap now, so next lap after this, he will be going into the pits to refuel, hopefully, and get back on the racing soft. James Harben in 9th position, gained a few positions over pit stops happening. Duds has been in the pits, Rob's been in the pits, Martin's been in the pits, Marshall in the pits, and Sonic's been in the pits as well. 0.5 second penalty. So MLA, when will he pit? This is the thing. Myself in 2nd, P1 Valium. Now you see what I mean about the gaps. The closest battle we have is Sea Trickle. Sea Trickle now gonna come under pressure now from Dave in 7th position. So Sea Trickle in 6th, still not pitted. Going for that longer first stint as well. As we can see up the front, MLA opting to stay out. P1 Valium as well. This is going to form into quite a bit of a battle for the last part of this race. Dave on his final lap on the racing medium, in the slipstream there of Sea Trickle, died to the inside. Sea Trickle just let him on by, left indicator on. Yeah, left indicator on, allowing Dave to go by, because Sea Trickle's tyres are wearing a little bit now. Bazinga in the solo Aston Martin. Currently running 8th. Bit more wear on them racing medium. James Harben on the racing soft. 155.663. So fast lap of the race so far. Duds there. You can see James, but can Duds close up, because Duds will have the attention of Rob. Rob there in that 11th position. Quite possibly get that 10th off of Duds. Martin there with a penalty above his car again in 12th. Marshall in 13th. We'll be looking to push it now to try and close the gap between him and 12th position. Sonic in 14th, but doing a good job sticking with it in the Jaguar. Quite a rapid car this once you get the hang of it. But yeah, got around about 18 minutes to go of this race. MLA currently leading the race, still in 1st. MLA, I think he'll pit now. 157.133. You could just tell the difference on the racing soft. It's around about 1.5 seconds faster on the racing soft than it is compared to the racing medium. Now Nath gaps Rick, closing to P1 Valium. P1 Valium, I think, dives into the pitch, which he does. Rick opted to stay out. Dave opted to stay out as well, so Dave in that set. So it's currently Team Toyota 1 and 2. Yeah, 1 and 2, you heard that right. Can we finish like this? Rick there in that 3rd position. Gonna come under pressure now from Dave in that 4th, but he's gonna have to pit at the end of this lap. Cars pitting now. We've got P1 Valium, MLA, Bazinga, Sea Trickle, Duds, all pitted. Can Marshall get the jump on a couple of them? He may get Duds and Martin, and his teammate. I'm not quite sure. Where's Marshall gone? He is there. His teammate hasn't come out. They just come out. Where's Marshall in regards? Yeah, Marshall got the jump on his teammate there, so good outlet there from Marshall. And yeah, this is 9th and 10th. Nathan's second. Rick harassing the rear of Nate. Oh, sliding. Dave's like, thank you very much. Come again. I would dive up the inside. And he does that very nicely indeed. Now he's going to close up to the back of Nate. But unfortunately, Nate's got the advantage right about now. Because Nate... But saying that, actually... Dave might have not lost a lot of time, actually. Because... Yeah, because Nate's going to have to refuel alongside Dave. I'm coming through that chicane now. I think I dive into the pits. I do indeed. But Dave and Nate side by side. Battling for second and third. But Nate's going to go into the pits with Dave as well. This is very close in the pit stop. Oh! Nate almost ran it wide into the barrier. So, we've got first, second, third, fourth pitted. James Harbin, where can he come out? Can he take advantage of this? So James Harbin's got massive jump on the cars ahead of him, actually. There I am, just being released, refueling now. James, yeah. James takes the lead of the race. Wow, what a few laps for him. Myself there, MLA in that second position, so I come out in third. Dave comes out in fourth. P1 Valium just coming down towards the first right hairpin now. And there's Dave, there's Valium. Marshall up to sixth, and Marshall as well. He's jumped a few cars. See Trickle likewise. Nate down to 8th. Sonic Racer 9th. But Rick, unfortunately, he's lost quite a bit of ground now. Nate's there. Rick is there. So yeah, Rick's got it all to do. Rick needs to push. We've got around about 13 minutes to go. So yeah, 100% Rick has got to push. Flat out stylee to close up to the rear of Nathan. See if he can get back up to towards the top 5 maybe. But we'll wait and see. And yeah, interesting, fascinating. Get a quick drink. Yeah, but he done well, James. Pitted quite early. Pit with David's first pit stop. On them stonking laps, as you can tell by the tyre wear already. 2:29 on lap 9. That's when he come out the pits. And yeah, he's done a 1:55.365, but he's pushing it a lot to try and gap. But by him overdoing it, he may lose a bit of ground come towards the end of the race. MLA in second, myself in third. Dave, I think this is when it happened. It didn't refuel on his second pit stop. Yeah, this is when it happened. He asked for fuel, but it didn't put the fuel in. It glitched, so it just spat him out with the fresh set of tyres. It didn't refuel, so that unfortunately hampered Dave for any podium of this race. You know, by that glitch happening, by not refueling, he's lost it. This is when it happened, not previously. I do apologise. So yeah, Dave falling right the way down. Dave is like almost last place. There's Rob come around the final corner. Dave being released. So Dave down into 11th. Does could quite possibly get the jump, and he doesn't. Look at that seat. How ridiculous is that seat? Get out of the way, seat. And yeah, oh, Duds ran it a bit wide on the exit, that hairpin. And yeah, Dave's going to struggle now getting through. Oh, Dave's frustrated. He's annoyed. He's like, goddamn stupid pit crew. What have you done to me? You've hampered my any chance of a podium of this race. And yeah, now he's down in 12th. Frustrated, as you can tell. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can come back with. But unfortunately, there's first place way ahead of his teammate. Look at that. We're looking at what we're looking at. We're looking at around about 23, 24 seconds, if not a little bit more. MLA in second. Now I'm on the racing side. It's all about hammer. I don't like saying that word, hammer time. It reminds me of someone. Flat out stylee, that's what we call it. In that third position. And yeah, MLA in second. Can he keep that position ahead of me? We'll wait and see. He runs it a bit deep on that chicane. And this is prime attack mode for me. And yeah, MLA just lifted off a little bit because he knew he had dirty tyres, and that's pushed me up to second. The time gap between me and James is 11 seconds. Is that doable with 10 minutes to go? P1 Valium in fourth position, now comfortable ahead of Marshall. C Trickle in sixth. So the two Nissan boys, fair play to them. You know, fifth and sixth. Seventh is Nath. Can he gain to the back of the two Nissan boys? Can he gain up to MLA and get that final podium position? We'll wait and see. Then we've got Sonic Racer. Good race from him. In that 8th position. Bazinga in 9. Battling up side by side with Rick, heading towards the first hairpin. Bazinga a bit back-endy on that Ferrari. Bazinga down the inside. A little bit of a contact to the rear quarter of Rick. And they're still battling side by side into this left-hander. Rick on the outside, Bazinga on the inside. Can Bazinga stick it on the outside or do that cut back? But Rick, no, up to that night. Bazinga gave a good fight there. Can Bazinga get him heading down towards this left-hander? Or will the Ferrari pull away? Let's stay on board with Bazinga for a minute. This right-hander coming up now. Can he get him at the bottom of the straights? I think the V12 Aston Martin has got a lot more power than the Ferrari. No, it seems like Rick has gap, pulls to the right, stays out of that slipstream. So yeah, Rick seems to have got that move double. What can Bazinga do as they head uphill? Duds in 11th. Dave still cannot get by that Mert. Is it now time for him to get past that Mert down the inside, let it break in? But Duds there hanging around the outside. Will Duds look for the cutback? He looked for it, but Dave covered it off mid-apex there, mid-corner. And yeah, Dave now up to 11th. Bazinga ahead of Dave is 12 seconds. A lot to ask there for Dave to do, but can he do it? Less tyre wear than Bazinga, possible. We're around about 8 minutes to go up the front. James Harbin leading the race. The time gap between me and him has fallen to 9.7 second gap, so I took around about a second out of him. But on lap number 17, 8 minutes to go of the feature race. And then we do the sprint qualifying after for next week's race, which would have been Brands Hatch. MLA now coming under pressure from P1 Valium. P1 Valium, oh god, sorry about the camera. P1 Valium there looking to take it a long way, but will he cut to the inside there? MLA, he does indeed. Very nice move there from P1 Valium. Psyched him out on the outside and cut down the inside, seen that gap and went for it. So now P1 Valium up to that third position. MLA now down to fourth on the racing medium, so the Ferrari is not happy on the racing medium. And Marshall up to fifth. Wow, stonking performance. So will he close that gap? C Trickle in sixth, Nathan seventh, 0.4 second penny above his car. Sonic Racer in that 8th, Rick in 9th, Bazinga in 10th, Dave. Right, so Dave 155.007, double James Bond style. It is 10.8, not enough. Oh, Dave, it's that second pit stop with that fuel glitch. It's hampered him massively. This can also hamper their points. Duds in 12th, Rob there in 13th. Then we got Martin there, unfortunately in 14th. Struggling this evening in the Mercedes around Nürburgring GP. Up the front, James Harbin. Car view, there it is. James Harbin, yeah, he's losing ground. Second a lap so far. There's me just come around that final corner, start finish straight. So yeah, that tyre wear is coming into effect now. As you can see on the Supra, it's not as high as the Lamborghini. P1 Valium likewise, his wear isn't high. So can we both close this gap to James? We'll wait and see. MLA in 4th, now falling back now. See Trickle up to that 5th. Marshall must have had a moment. I don't want to go back because I want to try and get the feature and the sprint into one video, so I don't want to go back looking at if anything happened. I just want to try and get them done because it saves a lot of time as well, and then they can watch it, you know, instantly rather than going off that video, click the other video, blah 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 blah. But saying that, right, blue there for Marshall, lap number 13, 156.268. Now Marshall is on the pad, and he does very well on the pad, but behind Nave, 156.799. So yeah, the Marshall faster than Nave at the minute, but Nave is in that slipstream, trying to look for exposition off of Marshall. No one behind him. Well, there is Sonic Racer, but he's a little bit too far back to do anything. In the slipstream, can Nave get Marshall and maybe close up to C Trickle? Doable if you do it right. Sonic Racer, Rick, down to 9. Lost a lot of ground in the pit stops, you know. Bazinga, Dave there in 11th, still recovering. Bazinga. What's happening here? Missed something there. Dave, Duds, Rob, and Martin. We've got less than 5 minutes to go of the feature race. James Harben, can he get the win? What is the time gap? 8.5, so it stayed the same. A few attempts here and there taken out. Valium further 4.5 behind me, but I'm pretty sure Valium will be pushing it. Valium there in that 4th position. MLA just behind Valium in 4th, sorry. Valium 3rd. C Trickle, look at this battling. Marshall and Nate battling that out. 4, 6 and 7 position. Can Nate get this move done onto Marshall? He looks to the inside. Yeah, Super's got a little bit of an advantage there over the Nissan, but Marshall, will he hang it around or will he dive back down the inside? He's looking for it, so Marshall there looking towards the inside of Nate. Nate covers it off. Can Marshall get this move done? Sonic Racer may take advantage of this and get 2 for the price of 1. There is Sonic Racer just behind in that 8th. And Nate extending that gap now, or Marshall a little bit rear-endy from that Nissan. Tyre wear coming more heavier for him. And it looks like Nate's got that move done, but can Nate close up to the rear of C Trickle? 1.4 second gap between C Trickle, who's running in 5th, and Nate there in 6th. There's Nate trying to pick up that slipstream, but he's a little bit too far back. We've got around about 3 minutes to go of the feature race Nürburgring GP, the Infinity GT Manufacturers Series Season 6 League 2. Myself, Idle4 Gaming. Please subscribe, like, I do appreciate it. James Harben now, 7.8, so he's comfortable, taking it nice and steady for the last couple of laps. P1 Valley may be trying to close that gap. 4.7 stayed the same between me and him, but it's actually 7.8 between me and James Harben. For the GK chicane we go. C Trickle up to 5th. Nave, yeah, so C Trickle, can he close that gap to MLA? Nave there in 6th. The time gap between these two, 1.5 second gap, so C Trickle has extended it a little bit. Marshall now dropping back into the clutch of Sonic Racer in 8th. Rick there in 9th. Bazinga in 10th. Dave in 11th. Duds in 12th. Robin 13th. And Martin, unfortunately, in 14th. So the two Mercedes running 12th and 14th. The German car not doing very well around the German track this evening. Let's see what they could do around Brands Hatch. Oh, almost clipped into that barrier. Does did, but he missed it. So Does 12. Martin there in 14th. It looks like Martin did hit that barrier. So unfortunately now he's got a little bit of front end aero damage and his suspension on the right wheel. So yeah, he's got a little bit of damage there, which will be frustrating for him because he was closing up to Rob. But James Harben on the penultimate lap. Yeah, lap number 20. I think Dave has actually stolen the fastest lap. He has, 1:55.007, what we've seen previously. So Dave, fastest car on the track. So he had the potential there to win the race or get on the podium. But unfortunately, it just hampered in the pit stop. So now James running a bit low on fuel. I'm okay. 6.5 second gap over one single lap. Unless you're in an aeroplane, maybe, but no, there was no way of closing that gap. P1 Valium in 3rd, MLA in 4th, C Trickle in 5th, So this is comfortable now, but saying that, Nath is actually closing the gap to see Trickle in 5th. Marshall there in that 7th position. Yeah, losing a bit of ground now, but he's still coming into clutches of Sonic Racer. Sonic Racer there, all run it a bit deep, so that's going to cost him. And he was closing up to Marshall, but that effectively now is he's staying in 8th and he can't gain up a position. Rick there in 9th. Rick quite possibly getting to the back of Sonic. Bazinga, Dave in 11th, Duds in 12th, batting in with Rob. So Rob there looking for that move onto he lost it on the exit of the chicane. So the first one to finish is actually Bazinga. We got Dave in 11th position, frustrated after that pit glitch. Duds in 12th. Martin there in 13th. Rob in 14th. Come around the final corner. Unfortunately, losing on the exit of the NGK chicane. But Rob there across the line in 14th position. Up the front we go. James Harbour now not too far to go. I did close the gap to him, 5.1, but it wasn't enough. So James Harbour there going on to win the race in a couple of corners time. Myself in 2nd, P1 Valium, and we'll take that 3rd. C Trickle now coming the pressure from Nave. Can Nave get this position off of C Trickle, heading up through the Schumacher S's? We'll wait and see. Marshall there losing ground all the time, lap after lap, end up hill now. And yeah, can Nave get that move done? James hasn't got too far to go. James, brilliant race from James. Hats off to him. Done it perfectly, to be honest with you. Pitted early, got the jump onto the leaders into the pits, and then he got that first position, and he's led it ever since. So fair play, James Harbour, the winner of the feature race in 1st. Myself in 2nd. P1 Valium in 3rd. Coming around now. P1 Valium in 3rd. Check out the sprint race in a minute. That'll be combined with this video, hopefully. P1 Valium in 3rd. M&A in 4th. C Trickle in 5th. Nath in 6th, just about. Almost got that 5th. Marshall in 7th. Sonic Racer and Rick 8th and 9th. Here we are then, sprint race to determine the grid for Brands Hatch GP for next week's races. Sprint race, no mandatory tyre, but it is reverse grid, so the slowest from the previous race at the front and the fastest to the rear. Flat out 15-minute racing, anything will go in this race to a certain extent. Who can get the perfect run down to turn number 1? Rob there in pole position now. Good start there from Martin. Martin there in 3rd, got the jump straight away up to 1st position. So the time of day has changed, a little bit darker now. We're heading into darkness, and yeah, who can get that pole position for next week's feature race around Brands Hatch GP? As you can tell already, McDaddy has joined this race, Mr. Feature Race. What can he do? Can he stick it on pole 4 for Brands Hatch? Rick there making his way up to 4th. Already is starting to unfold in places, because Dave up to 2nd position already, with Bazinga in 3rd. Can Dave close up to the rear of Martin? We'll come back to this in a minute. Rob there in 7th, down the inside. P1 Valium, oh, Sonic Racer almost contact there, almost took each other out, but Nate there looking to the outside of P1 Valium. Nate there looking to the inside there of Sonic Racer. So Nate's on it right about now for the sprint race. He wants to stick this Supra on pole position, but behind we got MLA in that 11th, C Trickle in 12th, myself in 13th. So me and James haven't made the perfect start at all. We're struggling right about now to try and make it through the field, unlike others who've done it successfully. But me and James 13th, 14th, still haven't moved up anywhere, to be honest with you. We're still 14th, 13th, 1st, 2nd, last time out. And yeah, it's going to be a struggle for us this evening around Nürburgring GP for the sprint race. But the man leading the race in a minute after lap number 1 is Martin there in 1st, Dave in 2nd, Rick in 3rd, Bazinga in 4th, Marshall in 5th, McDaddy in 6th, Rob in 7th, Nathan 8th. Nathan 9th, Valium in 8th, Rob in 7th, Sonic Racing in 10th, C Trickle in 11th, MLA in 12th, myself 13th, James Harbin to the rear, still in 14th. Just out the front we go because we have got a battle here. We have got Nave and P1 Valium battling out side by side. Can Nave take it around the long way round around the right hairpin, drop it down the hill now? He's still sticking it side by side to P1 Valium. P1 Valium cuts and Nave's like, no, add that, mate. I'm taking that 7th off you. So Nave, what can he do? Can he come back at P1 Valium in that 7th position? Because Rob there in 9th with Sonic behind in 10th, C Trickle and MLA there as well. Can Nave get this position off of P1 Valium? We'll wait and see. Purple sector there for Nave. Can he do it? P1 Valium runs it slightly deep on the exit. He hasn't got that move done yet, Nave. He may do it towards the hairpin. But at the front we go. Bazinga, 0.8 second penalty. McDaddy falling down now. Marshall there looking to the inside there. Bazinga gets that move done. Can McDaddy follow Marshall through? No, he does not. So P1 Valium still back away with Nave. Robin 9th position, gapping now to Sonic Racer. C Trickle in 11th, MLA in 12th. Myself still in 13th, and James Harbin still in 14th. We were struggling to get through. Don't know why. Martin there, coming under pressure now from Dave. So in car with Martin. Looking back to Dave, and there's Mercedes. The seats are horrible, but Dave there to the inside. Gets that move done off of Martin, but will Martin come back at Dave through the NGK chicane? No, he backs off it, brakes a little bit early, allows Dave to go back through the mid part of that chicane. Martin JL close that gap up. Wow. So Martin JL, if he can keep in the clutches of Dave for the next sort of like 8 minutes, he's got the potential to win this race. But Dave wants to stick it on pole for next week's races. And Martin there to the inside there. Dave, will he get his move done? And he's looking for it down the inside. Oh, almost ran it a little bit deep. He's still on the inside, so he can still protect this from Dave. Send Dave the long way around. They do a little bit of contact there. Side by side contact, but no, Martin still on the inside. Great battling here, side by side for a few corners now, and Martin there's got the move onto Dave. So Dave unfortunately now down to 2nd position. Can Martin extend that gap? We've got 10 minutes to go. Or will Dave dive down the inside? Dave's looking for it. No, Martin cuts off his nose like, no, you're not having that. Can Dave do it down the inside again? No, Martin covers off that apex as well. And yeah, all the while Rick is closing that gap up and bringing Marshall along with him. Can Dave dive down the inside there of Martin down the inside? No, he does not. Maybe a better exit. Oh, Martin ran it very, very deep on the exit. And that's going to compromise in Dave now as they head uphill through the Michael Schumacher S's. They're side by side, a little bit of door rubbing there again. But they give equal space to each other. But all the while Rick is like, hello lads, I'm here for the taking. And can Rick get the win of the race? We'll wait and see. Marshall there in 4th, so running a good position so far. And again, these two battling 1 and 2 is enabling Rick to close out that gap massively. Rick, purple sector for him. And yeah, let's go down. Marshall, McDaddy, P1 Valium, Nath there in 7th, still battling along with P1 Valium. But when will he get this overtake done? No, not just yet. Sonic Racer again, a good race from Sonic in 8th. C Trickle in 9th, MLA in 10th, myself in 11th. Look for that move, but thought better of it. I don't know why I was flashing my lights, I can't remember. And then Rob and James Harbin and Bazinga. Up the front we go. Dave got the lead again, but Martin is not letting him go so easily. Out wide, cut it in really tight. No, he's lost a bit of ground there, but that has enabled Rick to close up. So Rick there in that 3rd position. Can he get 2nd? Can he close up to the rear of Dave, who was leading the race? Can Marshall do anything about these 3 up ahead? We'll wait and see. P1 Valium. We've got a gaggle of cars here battling out. McDaddy in 7th. Nate there in 7th with Sonic Racer up in 8th. Nate sent it around the long way round over McDaddy. So McDaddy's now down 7th. Nate up to 6th. Trying to close out that gap to P1 Valium. Further down we go. MLA in 10th. Myself in 11th position. James following me through as well. So James there in that 12th, so slowly making his way up as well. Rob there in 13th. Bazinga unfortunately now in last position. Up the front we go. Martin now is losing ground now to Dave, with Rick in that third position. Marshall, good race, comfortable gap behind him now to P1 Valiant, but the gap is extending between him and Rick there. P1 Valiant in fifth with Nathan sixth. Sonic Racer, McDaddy. So McDaddy there in the slipstream of Sonic Racer. Can he get this move done? Because they have got C Trickle behind. C Trickle in that ninth position, a little bit of contact there. MLA and myself, James Harbour, a little bit of pennies. He's got to slow up, burn it off, get rid of it. Rob there in that 13th position, and Bazinga in 14th. So at the front, Martin there, half second pennies. He's got to slow up, that will hamper him. Marshall in that 14th, P1 Valium sorry, Marshall in 4th, P1 Valium in 5th, not 14th, sorry Marshall. And yes, keep an eye on this for a minute. James Harbour with that half second penny above his car. Just couldn't get through. I don't know what was going on. Just couldn't get through. Me and James were struggling to get through the pack, you know. It was a very, very odd situation to be in. But yeah, everyone goes hell for leather for the sprint race. They want the best position possible, because only the top 10 get points for the sprint race. Outside the top 10 you get nothing. I think something untoward happened right back now between me and MLA. I wasn't sure what actually happened. I don't know if it was here, but at the front we've got battling now. We'll keep an eye on this for a minute. No, I don't think it was here. Oh yes it was, yeah. So MLA a bit back-ended there. No it wasn't. It was further on down I think. Yeah, next lap. At the front, so Valium and Nate still battling it out, but all the while Sonic Racer isn't letting go so easy. Sonic Racer around Nürburgring GP must fancy his chances in the sprint race, because P1 Valium and Nate battling their way still with Sonic Racer in 7th. He's just waiting patiently for anything to happen between these two. If they ever come in together, anything like that. And then Sonic Racer will be like, hello, thank you, come again. And yeah, if he just sits here, let them battle, let them, you know, battle away, he can quite possibly gain 2 positions. But down we go. C Trickle in 8th now. McDaddy down to 9th. MLA in that 10th, looking for that position over McDaddy, but all the while he's bringing me along with him as well, Rob as well, and James Harbour. And yeah, James Harbour now down to 13th. Not having a great sprint race, and Bazinga unfortunately to the rear in 14th position, but at the front we go. Dave now has gapped Martin. No, he hasn't actually. It's only half a second. So Martin JL there, keeping him there. But all the while again, Rick is closing that gap to Martin. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird race this. They struggled in the feature, but bringing it in the sprint. Surprising. Marshall, P1 Valium. There's something happened between me and MLA. So something happened here. So me and MLA battling away. A little bit of contact there on the entry, but I don't know. Yeah, see, I reported it. I was like, right, I don't know what happened here. Did I give contact? But what James said to me was MLA was actually losing it prior to that spin out. I did hit him, and I thought I was in the wrong. So I waited up anyway, but it turned out that MLA was losing the rear end anyway, 3 corners previously to that. This is what I was told, so I did want it to have a little bit of a look at. And yeah, I did wait up for MLA because I felt I'd done wrong, but it turned out I didn't do wrong, so just clarify that up, you know. But MLA's struggling now on the racing soft, but regardless, you know, I hit him to the rear, so I waited, you know, sportsmanship or whatnot. So now we're running like 13, 14, so that has hampered us, but that has benefited James Harbour, because James Harbour now, without anyone in front of him really, there is Rob, but he's a few tenths up the road. James Harbour now can just concentrate, focus, and try and gain a few positions, and Rob's there. McDaddy's there with C Trickle just up ahead. But at the front we go. Sorry, what's going on with my controller? So at the front we go. Dave now has gapped a little bit, but Rick is hunting for that second and first, and maybe we'll wait and see. But behind as well, we still, these two are battling non-stop from the beginning of the sprint race. We've got Nathan, P1 Valley and Banner out for that 5th and 6th. Sonic Racer, hats off to him, in 7th, still there. I just don't know what it is with the feature and the sprint. They seem to bring it more in the sprint than they do the feature. When the feature you gain more points than the sprint, you know. But it is what it is. They must enjoy the shorter races. See Trickle, McDaddy, James Harben, Rob, Bazinga, me and Emily in last place. Penultimate lap, there or thereabouts. I think it's penultimate lap. Martin trying all he can to get that position back off of Dave. But then he's got to get rid of... Has he got rid of that penalty? It could be something like 0.3 something minimal. It just doesn't get rid of it till you get rid of the whole penalty. So Rick there in 3rd, Marshall in 4th, Nathan 5th. He's got to jump over P1 Valium in the end, but P1 Valium's got the attention of Sonic Racer. Sonic Racer absolutely bringing it this race. Oh, onto the gravel after all that hard work, and Sonic Racer loses it on the exit of that corner. That is very, very harsh for Sonic Racer, who's doing really, really well. So fortunately now down to 12th. Can we gain a position? Who knows? Who knows? I can't remember. And yeah, we are not too far to go now. I'm not sure if this will be the last lap. It might be close. No, it won't be, will it? No, it won't be. Penultimate lap. Yeah, I think it's 10 lap race, something like that. So these are forming into a nice little battle now, 1st to 3rd. So it's over half second between 1st and 3rd, and Marshall's a further 4. So yeah, anyone's taking for this podium for the next week's race. But Martin there to the inside still. That red's still there. 0.0. It's something ridiculous anyway. You could have no penalty, it could be all gone, could be a glitch, you know. Dave had the glitch previously for the feature race with the pit. Could be a glitch for the penalty above the car showing 0.0. He actually got rid of it there, so maybe he still had a little bit of a penalty. But Rick, can he take advantage of that? Rick, this is going to be a great last lap. Just under half a second. This will be the last lap. This will be the last lap. Who can get the podium? Can Dave hang on for that first place? Can Martin nab it on the final chicane? Can Rick get that 3rd position? So what we're focused on, because I'm getting the 2 videos into one. Martin runs it a little bit wide. Can Rick capitalise from this on the inside? So what I'm going to do is show you pole position for the next week's race. Then I'm going to end it, because I want to get these videos into one video, if you see what I mean. So already it's settled, so I feel now this is going to be how it will finish. So Dave looks like he's going to win the feature race. Sorry, the sprint race, sorry, not the feature. We've just done the sprint, Darren, wake up. So Dave there takes pole for next week's race. Rick takes 2nd, nabbed off of Martin. Martin in 3rd, Marshall in 4th, with Nathan 5th. So Marshall in 4th, Nathan 5th, Valium, C. Trickle, McDaddy, James Harben, Rob. Yeah, so Dave on pole for Brands Hats. Watch that race when it's out, and I'll speak to you then. Thank you. Bye bye.